This is the Transformers Generations Power of the Primes Leader Class Evolution Optimus Prime. The figure is part of the first wave of the Leader Class figures for the Power of the Primes Generations toy line. And here's a look at the packaging. Orion Pax on the side. Orion Pax evolves into Optimus Prime. It's an interesting take on the Power Master Optimus Prime. It's got the Matrix right there, so one of the primes turns him into Optimus Prime or something like that. So that's really nice. Nothing there, nothing there. All right, so let's get him out of packaging, shall we? Here we have the Power of the Primes Leader Class Optimus Prime out of packaging, and boy, is it a gorgeous looking figure. Very, very G1, and I think that's what a lot of fans have been missing out on the Generations line. And finally, we have a very, very decent Power Master of sorts, Orion Pax Optimus Prime figure that we can add to our Generations collections and collection, and boy, is it great. Let me talk about the robot mode just to begin with. It looks, as I said, very, very G1, and I think it'll please a lot of the fans during that time. Just look at him. He's Optimus Prime. This is the Optimus Prime we grew up with and we've learned to love. Immediately you will see a lot of kibble. The arm, the Orion Pax legs compressed there. You get to see the arm made up of the trailer pieces. He's got some smokestacks that are actually false smokestacks. They're not the actual smokestacks that are going to be on the trailer because the cab is actually Orion Pax. But it makes a lot of, it uses a lot of aesthetics from the 80s Optimus Prime onto the 80s movie, bringing it to a very, very, very familiar Optimus Prime. Now, if you're wondering how tall he stands, he is about 9.5 inches tall, just under 9.5, maybe 9 1/3 inch tall. And if you compare him with the masterpiece Optimus Prime, he's just a tad bit shorter, about a 1/2 inch shorter or so. Yeah, but he does come with a gun that's very, very similar to the G1 gun. Actually looks a lot more like the G1 gun than this one. That's very, very cool. Arms, the details about this is not the MP10. This is the MP10 Year of the Horse, so the colors are off. But he does have the same, almost the same details of the cab windows and the belt and the legs and all that. Okay, this one has a matrix of leadership locked up in his chest cavity, just like that. Now this one has that same gimmick. He's got his own matrix of leadership, and there is a frame. The matrix of leadership. Matrix of leadership. It does split up. This is the actual matrix, and you can replace it with any Prime Master. Like in this regard, he is Optimus Prime card. He is Liege Maximo. So if you have Liege Maximo, I think he's the most ideal Prime Master to put into Optimus Prime's Matrix frame. Outwits enemies with prescient strategic vision. Interesting. Comes with a nice little instruction sheet. Okay. Now let's see how it fits. The instructions sort of say that you put it this way. That's just trying to clear that up. They say to put the head down, or whoever Prime Master like this, and I assume you just stick it in directly like that, as the instruction says. But the instructions demand more use of intellect, so the chest cavity opens like this. It's not a perfect cavity. There are some kibble that you have to negotiate. But I do love the gimmick. It's probably one of my favorite gimmicks about this. There's a secondary cab, which is really Orion Pax. You're opening him up. And instead of putting it this way with the head down, it's actually with the head up. That's how you'll fit it. And there are like the small tab-like structures right there, and those are sort of going to friction friction attach or hold that matrix of leadership using friction from those two pegs or thereabouts, as well as the others. And so as you can see, the head of the would-be head of the Prime Master should be facing up so that you can effectively put in that matrix of leadership. Now it can be a little bit hard, and what it is there's a little bit of a clearance issue underneath this piece right here, which you have to negotiate by just pushing like that, and it will close. If you try and slam it from the bottom, you're going to break something, so just push it gently like that. And the same is true for this. The wheels have to be negotiated so that you can firmly close that chest cavity where the matrix of leadership rests. So very, very nice. Let's get rid of the masterpiece Optimus Prime for now. Talking about the figure in general, you've already seen my comments about the kibble, but apart from the aesthetics, it's a very, very nice looking Optimus Prime. You get some stickers instead of tampos right here, here, and here, right there. I'll show you the gun. The gun does split into two, so you can have two handguns, which I thought was funny. He's got this mini, like nail gun, and he's got another small pistol, but we all know we're gonna keep this gun like this, definitely, for long duration. It doesn't have as much detail. It's not as smooth as I want it to be. There's a lot of details on one side. Excuse me, let me just get some more light on that. There's details on one side, there's more details on the other. Basically the same, but there's a lot of holes, a lot of gaps. Okay, so on to Optimus Prime's details. You get a lot of the cab details here and there. I wish there was more red paint here, but they painted this front piece red. There's gray, blue plastic. Not much on the back. Back is probably the ugliest part, especially these heel spurs, which I wish it was more solid. You know how Optimus Prime's legs were, they're very solid, and this one just a lot of space between that. Articulation, it's got a swivel neck that's on a hinge. Oh no, sorry, it is a ball joint. I was thinking about that earlier. It is a ball joint, my bad. No waist articulation. It's got a swivel shoulder, and then just beside the shoulder is a swivel hinge to make the arms go in and out. Bicep swivel, hinge elbow. Unfortunately, there are no wrist articulation. There's no wrist articulation with this figure, which not a deal breaker, but it would have been nice. Ratcheting hip joints go in and out, forward and backward. Thigh swivel, hinge knees, and some foot articulation with the rocker joints. So interesting. There's a lot of gaps here and there with the weapon, with the whole figure, some kibble here and there as well. But overall, I think they did a wonderful, Hasbro, Takara Tomy, I suppose, did a wonderful job with the overall aesthetics of this G1-ish Optimus Prime. So let's transform him and see how he looks in alt mode, and we'll get a look at Orion Pax. So to transform the figure, get him in a standing up position, straighten out all the limbs, make sure nothing is misaligned or out of place. Remove the gun. We'll use that later in trailer mode. It tends to tip over, but the hinges are strong enough to hold him. Okay, first thing you want to do is remove Orion Pax. All right, and you do it by pushing down on this lever. That's sort of the lock for him in torso mode. So pull this lever down, and you can easily remove him. And to put him back, it's a nice little smooth slide in action that just snaps in. I was very surprised at how smooth that was. I was expecting a lot of friction and resistance, but if you transform him properly, compact, you should be able to just squeeze him like that and it's fine. I thought that was very, very nice engineering on the part of Hasbro. Very, very nice. So the matrix of leadership is still inside. You don't really need to remove it. If you can remove it if you want to, but for purposes of this review, we don't have to. Okay, so let's get everything in truck mode first, and then I'll show him off in robot mode last, since it's easier to get him in truck mode when he's already in chest mode. Okay, so leave it at that. This one, the transformation engineering I thought was very nice. It was very clever. There's a nice way of folding things here and there. but half of the transformation makes the trailer piece or the body piece like a shell former, which I will show you right now. So first thing you want to do is fold up the feet like this, hold it like that. You want to go ahead and fold the smokestacks down and then raise the arms all the way up. Don't worry about those panels, they're going to line up nicely like that. Okay, then what you want to do is rotate the arms down like that. The panels of the side of the truck should be facing you. Okay, then what you want to do is you want to open up the panels right here, and this is where the shell forming begins. As you can see, it just opens up that compressed panel area. I thought that was cool. I thought that's nice engineering, and in a sense, being a shell former for a truck isn't actually that bad, because the compression of the panels into forming the body is great. However, as you've seen in robot mode, there's a lot of gaps that needed to be filled, and I didn't think, I thought the whole shell forming thing wasn't perfected in this regard, because it should have compressed nicely, neatly, and should have filled up all those gaps, but in this regard it did not. So okay, I'm gonna go ahead and join the legs together. You see more tabs right here and there. That's where these panels are gonna lock into, like that. Don't force it, make sure they just snap in like this, and they're gonna tab in together. Okay, just leave it like that. Okay, instructions say to just fold up the torso like that. You're gonna have some, yeah, I guess that's okay. Okay, and then fold the arms this way. Halfway through the arms, folding up the arms halfway, you gotta fold these up and then unfurl these more of the shell forming parts. I'll do that later. And then just fold them this way. So you have to squeeze in the fists underneath these panels. Go ahead and do that. And then that's probably when you have to fold up those hips. So it's a lot of negotiating here and there. You got to squeeze in some pieces here and there. And then here, there's a little bit of a clearance issue on his chest, the top part of his chest. You got to fit that whole corner piece underneath that whole chest assembly. And now I foresee a lot of scratching here and there if you transform this figure one too many times. Then what you got to do is clip in these panels. You get to see it's like a puzzle former at this step, this juncture of the transformation. Okay. And then what's left is like these side panels. You gotta tab them in right there and just push it so it tabs nice and flush. Same thing here. You gotta hold on to this piece so it doesn't get pushed. Tab it in like there. Some scratching is gonna happen on the stickers, which is fine, but not a whole lot. Not like that Starscream figure. Go ahead and unfold that hitch. There is no stand. There is no anything like that. To make him stand in trailer mode or truck mode. It's just gonna limp like that. Now the gun, which I had forgotten to do, you see these tabs, you're gonna sort of squeeze in the gun right there. You're supposed to have connected this one as you transform, but I thought, it's easy to do it anyway. You just squeeze it in like that and it'll be fine. Easy peasy. So transformation wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. That's the trailer. Now let's get him into his cab mode. So what you want to do first is untab these legs like that. You can already see the wheels. So it's from here on, it's very intuitive. Tab in the feet like that. That's the whole rear part of the truck. Okay, what you want to do is get rid of the Optimus Prime head. You want to unfold the Orion Pax chest and head. Make him face the other direction. And this is going to be the hitch for that hook, the trailer hitch. You're going to hook him there. And I thought this wasn't as convincing as I thought it was going to be. It feels a little bit flimsy, but I said, let's just see how it goes. Okay, go ahead and fold Optimus Prime's head down like that. And what you want to do is you want to cover everything up So fold the bicep like this as you are folding the shoulder. There is obviously a better way to do that. The instructions tell you to do this, then this. Okay, but to me, as long as you arrive in this position, you should be fine. Okay, so you just rest like that, and then the fall windshield for Optimus Prime, you just fold in to the side, off to the side, and flush, and then fold down the panels, tab them in onto these these hip pieces. Make sure that they're properly aligned. You can move them about so that they align properly when they tab in. Like this one, it's misaligned a little bit. Okay, right there. And essentially, this is the cab. It's not as convincing, you know. It feels like something from Mad Max Fury Road, but it is the cab. You can see the matrix of leadership right there. You don't have to remove it if you don't want to. And again, there's a hitch. It's very easy to do. It's very loose. It's not very tight. You're not gonna worry about hurting that Orion Pax head. So there's the truck mode. There's a lot of kibble going on here. There's a lot of gaps here and there. It's not as flush, but it sort of kind of works. It is Optimus Prime, the G1 Optimus Prime truck. I'm getting that vibe, but I just wish they could have polished it some more. Very, very smooth roll. So, very, very nice. Okay, let's see Orion Pax in robot mode. Very easy, very simple. What you want to do is fold these up like this. Go ahead and fold it as though you would transform him in torso mode. And this will be part of the robot's back. That's his back kibble. Okay, then what you want to do is you want to fold these right here. Go ahead and unfold the arms like so. Rotate the bicep. Unfold the fists. Very intuitive at this point, this juncture of the transformation. You get the Orion Pax arms right there. Just shed some more light. Cover up that Optimus Prime head. Fold up the Orion Pax head. Very nice. Go ahead and fold down. Okay. And tab. Rotate. Yeah. Hold up. Now obviously you can hold the weapon when you separate them into pieces. Obviously you can hold it, so let's put it this way. So, yep, there he is. Orion Pax. Very, very nice. Looks very Cybertronian. A lot of back kibble. His downside, wish there's really no way to get rid of that. That's as good as it gets. Articulation of the figure, because of the transformation, tons of articulation. No waist articulation, but the legs, the knees, elbows, head sculpt, ball joint and neck. Very cool. And here he is with the Titan's Return Orion Pax. I still think this is a wonderful, wonderful rendition of Orion Pax, but this one looks a lot more like the G1 Orion Pax, and I think it's a better version. He's a little bit taller, but I think it'll pass for a deluxe class figure instead of a Voyager figure. So Voyager should be a little bit here. He stands rough, just under 7 inches, about 6 3/4. The deluxe class stands at 6 inches. So yeah, an absolute gem of a figure. I thought it was great. The engineering was great. There are some shortcomings. It's a shell former that's not quite as perfect. There's a lot of gaps here and there. There's a lot of kibble here and there, but definitely a must-have figure if you're a Generations fan and if you're really looking forward to getting the Power of the Primes figure. It's going to get a 9.5 out of 10 for me. Wonderful figure. Well done, Hasbro. Cannot wait for the Takara Tomy version. to drop. It is amazing. So there you go, folks. Hope you've enjoyed this little video review. This has been the Transformers, the Power of the Primes Evolution, Leader Class Evolution Optimus Prime. Thanks for watching.